Welcome to what seems to have been a very long time in the making. It's value-based pricing masterclass. Thank you so much for coming, and all give yourself a big round of applause. You can make as much noise as you like because we can't actually hear each other when we're in, or I can't hear you when we're in this event. But someone's found the applause icon. Well done. You're so clever. So thank you very much for coming here. Hopefully you've got to work out how some of the tech works. I'm going to be starting the formal proceedings in about a minute or so. But the object of today is for you to learn as much as you can, not from me. There's lots of people who are very eager to learn about value-based pricing, but from each other. And this is why we're going to be doing the collegiate working together sessions after this. So I'm going to hopefully start a PowerPoint presentation that is going to take us till about 10:45. And then we'll be able to go back and do some networking and things like that. Then we'll be able to start the group sessions where you actually start taxing your brains and we start actually creating some great stuff. Those of you who found the chat button, like Kirsty, why we knew Kirsty would be first. You could chat to everybody there in the right-hand side. And we can use the chat function throughout the presentation, actually, because I will be asking you some questions. So hopefully those will come to light. Right. So Simon, who's the power behind the button, is going to hopefully bring up my PowerPoint presentation when I share my screen. So with a bit of luck, that will be Claire there, share, and hang on, let me find that start the presentation slideshow from the beginning. There we are. Now I can't see the screen anymore other than what's up in front of you. So this is what today's all about. It's value-based pricing for proactive lawyers, and the fact you're here shows you are one of those. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a solicitor, a litigation solicitor. I was a partner of a firm called Bretherton's for just shy of 30 odd years. And I, in October 2021, retired from Bretherton's and started up the Big Yellow Penguin. And everybody always asks me, say, look, Sean, why have you called the business this? Why Big Yellow Penguin? And the answer is I read a book about change management in about 2015, 2016. And it was an easy book to read. It's about penguins. It's a little fable about if these penguins don't find a new home, if they do not change, then they're going to die. And I read this and it resonated with me about the legal profession. So that's why I thought it'd be a good name for the business. The other thing is I have attended a couple of conferences dressed as a penguin. Jackie Brown from Lynn & Brown, who's here from Perth, will remember the picture on the left. That was in Dallas. And then the picture on the right was, I think it was in Birmingham. And you can see from the date on that picture, 2014. So I've been dressing up as a penguin for some time. And of course, everybody loves a penguin, don't they? Everybody loves a penguin. But not quite. That's the Law Society president there at the Sole Practitioners Conference last year. And I said, look, I'd like to have a picture with you, me and Declan. And you can see out the side of her mouth, she's going, security, security, somebody come and help me here. So nearly everyone loves a penguin. Today would not have happened without the support of our fantastic sponsors. So there they are. Please say hello to Rachel, Kirsty, Scott, Will, Kaylee, and Claire. They will be leading sessions on the group sessions. They've got a table each that they're going to be dealing with, and they're going to be milling around throughout the course of today. So if you want to learn more about how you can change your legal business, these are some good people to speak to. You can read more about them in the delegate pack. I'm going to start with an apology. I am going to get through a ton of stuff today. Don't worry about scribbling it down. These slides will all be sent to you as a PDF and they'll act as an aid memoir. Okay, we're going to look at the pricing confidence surveys that some of you completed. Thank you for that. We're going to look at what value-based pricing actually is, why speed is bad, look about customer selection. We're going to be working on some fixed price agreements. And then with the power of the crowd, this afternoon, we're going to be actually creating some options. And I've got what I've called the guru table, which is going to be table 13 in the options section, where myself and Jackie Brown from Lynn & Brown will be sitting, and more about Jackie in a second. And then after we've created some options, we're going to talk about how we present these. The documents and seating plans that you need when we get back in the main room, you can find, if you haven't found it already, the download area, and some of the stuff that I will be referring to in this presentation, you can get in the download area. And you have a Word document for the exercises, and hopefully you've got that from the Big Yellow Penguin events page. If not, you can get that in Word later on. And then when you see this little icon of Declan, my friend Declan the Penguin, there he is behind me, with a little opening a book, that's because we got some questions and we might have little quizzes. And when I do this with firms that actually face-to-face, I'm lobbing out packs of penguins. So I can't do that with you today. That's penguin chocolate bars as opposed to little penguins themselves. But we'll do some, I'll be asking you a bit of interaction. Although I've now realised I won't be able to see the answers. Never mind, I'll think of something. Here's Jackie Brown, Lynn & Brown Lawyers. Jackie's in the audience. I've seen her in the theatre. And Jackie is a partner in Lynn & Brown, a firm. I met Jackie and her brother Stephen in Dallas in 2017. And if any of you are saying value-based pricing cannot be done, please come to the Guru Table 13 during these sessions. Have a chat with me and Jackie. Jackie has been timeless, without timesheets, for over 5 years. So if you have got hindering thoughts about value-based pricing, come and have a chat with Jackie and myself, Table 13 during the sessions. Table captains, if you have got people that are asking questions, you're not quite sure as a group what the answer is, send them over to Table 13 during that session. Okay, the idea is today, the power of the crowd. We're going to create something brilliant. Now, I'm not going to play this again, but you have sat through a musical interlude of lawyers. Actually, there's a group of lawyers were singing that time after time, I'm billing time. And that is lawyers singing to a group of lawyers. And I want to ask you, how did that make you feel? And usually I get two reactions from this. But people will say, oh, I thought it was quite funny, quite witty as a lawyer. Yeah, I'm billing time. And as a lawyer, you smile. And I remember the first time I heard that, I smiled. And in fact, I went as far as actually creating a PowerPoint presentation on the back of it, where we used it almost as part of our time recording training a number of years ago. But if you think about the words again, and don't worry, we're not going to play it again because you're going to have this tune in your head for months now. But if you think about the words from a client perspective, how would you feel from the client? You call me up and you beg me for free advice. You're stealing from me and wondering why I'm not nice. My mind and my time and my merchandise. If you stop me at parties to wine and moan, if you come to my office or call my phone, if I think of you when I'm all alone, I'm billing time. Now, if you were a room full of clients and I was saying this, you'd be thinking, wow, I don't want to use you as a lawyer. If I want to ring you up and because I've got a question, I'm worried about something. I need some help. And don't forget, we lawyers often talk about us wanting to be trusted advisors. We want people to come to us. We want to come to them with their problems. And the hourly rate drives that away because they're going to think, I've got a question, but I don't know how much it's going to cost. I'll tell you what, it's best if I don't ask the question. I'll go somewhere else. And so I think that, while it is a funny song initially, it becomes quite sad. And what I want to try and do, is spark in you guys a little bit of enthusiasm to think about something different, a little way of thinking differently. And you can do this, where we look at actually trying to create some options for clients and give clients some price options and some choice. So it is a funny song initially, but then it becomes quite depressing. So keep away from sharp objects for the rest of the morning. Your surveys. Okay, thank you for those of you who completed the surveys. If you haven't looked at the survey link, you look at it afterwards and you might want to ask yourself about what it's like in your firm. And when I went through the surveys, this is what struck me. Now, I'm going to be looking at the questions of the positive yeses in the main, where people answered, yes, that's us. Now, I realized that I think there was, as of this morning, there were about 17, 18 of you who completed this. So this is 18 individual law firms answering the same question. But the table itself will give you other firms. So, for example, this table here, top of the table, this is a 13 million turnover law firm. 53 people responded. Okay. Next column, 20 people responded, 13 people, 11, 8. The next column, the last but one on the right, is the Bold Group. I did a survey for the Gold Group. 80 firms responded. And then we've got today's figures in red. Okay, so this just shows you, and you'll see some themes going through this on the numbers. So one of the questions was, I believe, or those at my firm believe we should have a profitable business. Now, when you look at that, you'd expect everybody to have 100%, wouldn't you? That everybody should want their firm to be profitable. And guess what? Not everybody does. And that seems to suggest when you think, well, why is that? Well, maybe people don't understand the numbers of the business, or maybe they need some training. And 71% of the people who responded here are saying, you know, there's only 71% of us believe all of those at my place think we should have profitable business. So if we can't say yes to that number, we've got to do some training. Our current pricing policy reflects the way I like to do things. Only 30% of us said yes to that. And you can see the figure gets quite low in some firms, 8% in one firm. So the way we do pricing, guess what? People don't, even the lawyers, our lawyers doing it, don't necessarily like the way we do things. Okay, so let's think about doing something different. We've got pricing policies which are clearly defined, communicated and adhered to in the firm. Well, 18% of the respondents today said yes. You'll see that is quite low generally. For the Bold Group, it was 63%. And that is, I think, pricing policies for conveyancers really just are an Excel spreadsheet with prices on it based on value. So that's why that figure has a little asterisk. To some extent, TSE, we think 41% of us think, yeah, we've got some pricing policies. And then not at all, NAA, 26% of us are saying, no, they're not. We don't have any, and they're not communicated. And when we're talking about charging for what we're doing, well, shouldn't we have some pricing policies? Shouldn't people know what they are? And shouldn't we agree them and communicate them? These are quick wins that you can do in your organization. When it comes to the question of, I'm confident that the work we do helps and benefits our clients, 83% of us today are saying, yeah, we think we are. 93% of conveyancers think that's true. Well, that's probably because they're thinking, well, we complete on most of our cases, so it helps. So that's always a high level. But yeah, so we're thinking, yeah, what we do actually works. That's great. We do get some value. Our clients are getting value. Then question 9, those in my firm create accurate and well-scoped pricing proposals, which they send. Only 17% say yes. To some extent, 53%. So again, a pretty low figure. We reduce our prices based on what our competitors charge. Not at all, 47% of us say. To some extent, 35%. So we keep an eye on what our competitors are doing and think, oh, well, we better reduce it because down the road, they're doing it a bit cheaper. We're doing it a bit cheaper still. So, you know, that's we've got to get that not at all figure a lot higher. We know who the most profitable and strategically important clients are in our firm. Not at all, 29%. To some extent, 35%, and yeses, 23%. So, you know, the others yeses are quite low numbers, 11%, 9%. And this is from people in single firms are saying, yeah, only 9% of our people know who our most important clients are. Well, guess what? We want to have this debate. We want to find that out because that's important info. I would like to be taught how to price clients differently on a variety of factors, including workload, time, ability to delegate, whether or not I'm going to enjoy working with them. I want to learn how to do this. And that you guys are saying, yeah, 94% of you are saying, yeah, I would like to learn how to do that. Not surprising that you're at this gig then, because you're the ones who've answered it. But actually, you can see that sometimes it's quite low, the figures. No, I don't want to do that. Conveyancers, interestingly, only 36% of them were saying yes. 36% of those 80 firms saying, yeah, I want to learn how to do something different. Now, you might think that's slightly worrying. So how the lawyer's price now? And the answer is it's time. Usually it's the majority of its time. And we'll talk about fixed pricing later on. But there's an element of time. And your FDs, and I know we've got a number of FDs in the room, usually think, well, the number of hours per billable hours for the lawyer this year, multiplied by the hourly rate, gives a target. We look at it on the time basis. We don't actually think about value. But this is the rub, isn't it? The only time that our clients are interested in is turnaround time. When's this going to be done by? For me, I want to know. I want a time estimate on this. I know conveyancers, you're in a world of pain at the moment because the land registry are so bad, but and things like that. So, but clients want to know when jobs are going to be completed. Here's a little take on realization rate. Met this guy in Dallas, Jackie, I remember him. 40 years as a lawyer, suddenly dawned on Milton that nobody gave a shit how long it took him to draft a will. They don't care about how long it takes us to do it. They're interested in the outcome. And that's Milton's realization rate. So how do we fix prices now? What do we do? Well, there's an element of hourly rates in drag. We think we give a fixed price. We think it's going to take us 4 hours. Our hourly rate's 300 quid. 4 times 300 equals 1,200. Therefore, I'll give an hourly rate. I'll give a fixed price of 1,200 quid or 1,400 quid or something like that. We tend to make prices up on the fly because they're not set. They're not communicated. We don't agree this stuff. We use our gut. We use our best endeavors. We use our best, which means make it up. We know this stuff. We follow our competitors, and you've seen the stats there. We do follow our competitors. We have inadequate conversations with customers. If you're a firm where you've got an Excel spreadsheet calculator on your website working out your conveyancing charges, for example, you're having no conversation with your customer. All you're giving them is actually a menu. Here's a price. Take it or leave it at this price on this value. This is what we do. No conversation. We usually scope badly because we don't take the time to scope well. And then when we scoped it badly and we realize we've got more work in progress than we thought at the, told the client at the beginning, we think, oh God, we better raise a bill, and then we're going to duck, and then we're going to send the bill out. So this is what happens probably at the moment. If you don't believe me, I'll show Culp, your compliance officer, because a lot of the compliance stuff comes from actually not having these conversations and not communicating. But let's think about what is it that clients come to us for? What are they buying? They are not interested in our inputs on the time it takes us to do stuff, or the forms we fill in, or the processes we have to go through. They don't care, okay? Because what they want is an output. They want a result. And the kind of results that they want when you talk to clients is they might want to be happy. They're coming to us because they've got a pain, they've got a problem. Can you please solve my problem? It might be, I want the house of my dreams. It might be, do you know what? I'm in a terrible relationship. I'm desperately unhappy. I'd like to get out of this relationship. I'd like to have a divorce. I'd like a separation. It might be I've been injured in an accident and I'd just like to get some money to get me back to where I should be and the kind of life that I could have because someone was negligent. It might be I need access to the kids. I've got family problems. Or it might be, I'm just doing this, I'm doing a will because I just want to sleep at night knowing that it's taken care of and that, that's on my to-do list. I just need to get it done so I can tick that box. This is what our clients want. They want when they come to see us. They want these outputs. They want these results. They want certainty. Okay. They want to know they're understood by us. But quite often we don't take the time to understand them and really understand them. They don't want any shocks. They want transparency about pricing, what I'm going to get. They might want got my back reassurance. They're coming to you because you're a real specialist in an area of law that you happen to be. They're not going to go and have their intellectual property done by a conveyancer, and hopefully a conveyancer isn't going to agree to do someone's intellectual property. So they might be going to people because of specialisms, and they want value. And the thing is, value gets a bit complicated because what is value? If we think about in our own lives, what is value? it will vary. Value, for a start, is not rational. Okay, there is Declan, my inflatable penguin, on top of a McLaren road car. That car is owned by my friend Dave, holding the penguin there. Dave likes cars. Okay, he's got that McLaren, he's got Aston Martin, he's got a top of the range Range Rover. He likes yanging around. We were at a track day, first time I've been on a track day. I don't like cars. I think it's ridiculous the amount Dave spends on cars. All I want to do in my car is go from A to B. But, you know, people like the things they like. So I don't think that's rational. I think that, you know, you wouldn't believe what it cost Dave to get that thing serviced after he's done 5 track days and 5,000 miles on that eye-watering sum. Come and speak to me in the chat. I'll tell you what it is. But it is, you know, I don't think it's rational. And value is a feeling, okay? And you can see there my hand with my wristwatch, okay? And I like yellow-faced watches. It has to have a luminous style, has to have a metal strap, and it's got to have a date so I can see what date it is. And the watch on the right I bought years and years and years ago. Fantastic, got a luminous style metal strap date. And then I got a bonus. And then I bought myself a yellow-faced watch, luminous style, metal strap. Now, the observant of you will notice there's another watch in the middle, and it's an Eco Citizen something or other. It's got too many dials on it, and you can't even see the date, but it's actually about the little box at about 4 o'clock. Now, that watch was given to me my dad after he had a stroke. And he said, you know, and he said, intimated he wanted me to have his watch because he liked that watch. And which watch do you think is the most important to me? And it's the least valuable. It's my dad's watch. That's the one that's most important. I don't even wear it. I wear it occasionally when my other watch is getting a new battery put in it. That's when I wear it. And it is not worth a light. But if it was held to ransom, this is the dilemma I have with myself. If it was held to ransom, how much would I pay to get it back? And the answer is not above 10 grand. But I think I'd go to 9.5 without telling my wife. Because it's my dad's. Now, and you won't get that feeling from the same watch, my dad's watch. But you look at the repair shop when we watch that on the telly about how people feel about things. And value is a feeling. You think about L'Oreal. You know, there it is. It's a feeling. They market it on a feeling because we're worth it. Oh, yeah, I'm going to wash my hair. You know, it's the customer's perception that's important. And value changes in its contextual. Okay, you think about water, the most abundant thing on the planet. Okay, the amount we will pay for that will be different. Okay, the amount you will pay for the last bottle of water or coming out of the desert, if that is one of the last bottles of water in that area, you will pay a lot for it. But the amount we pay for it coming out the tap is zip or very little at the moment. And you will see there, Sainsbury's, you'll pay less for Sainsbury's than you will for a bottle of Hilden or a bottle of Fiji or a bottle of Evian. And Evian, have you noticed that's naive spelt backwards? Just leave that thought with you. But, you know, bottle of Hilden the other day, I paid 9 quid. I didn't know it was 9 quid. 9 quid for a bottle of water it was when the bill came. You know, ridiculous, I thought at that time. Didn't kick up too much, but, you know, 9 quid for a bottle of water. So context changes. And what we've got to do is accept that perception of value is different to everybody. Okay. And if you know Mills and Reeve, you'll know the brand, I'm sure, Kirsty Shenton. She's really done some interesting thing about this. And what she would say is, look, the worst thing a law firm could do is offer a list and assume the clients see the value. They don't. That's where we come in. We've got to help them understand the value and make sure they're in the right place. So what is value-based pricing? I hear you cry. Okay, so look, we're on a course. We want to learn a little bit about it. And essentially, it's just, look, agreeing a price which is fair to the client, to the customer, but also fair to us, because we're the ones who are creating this value. And it's not the 6 minutes it takes us to do this. In my case, it's 6 minutes plus a 36 years experience of telling you what the answer is, if in 6 minutes, if indeed it's going to take me 6 minutes. But I'm not going to charge you 6 minutes. So it's actually where we're trying to actually get something that's fair for what we're doing at the time we're doing it and the person who is doing it and why, and and the client we're doing it for. You will have lots of hindering thoughts, okay? There will be myths in your head flying around, okay? And one of the big myths that I always get confronted with when I do this at law firms, going into law firms, sat in a firm of partners last week, 26 of them. And someone say, yeah, but Sean, what do we do when we've given a fixed price of a price for £10,000 and then we've time recorded it as well, and it's cost us 12,000. What do we do? What do we do? And the answer is you suck it up. You just charge 10 grand, because if you scoped it wrong, that's on you. Okay. If you scope them right, this is why it's important to scope and get your assumptions right. If it goes out of scope and you've identified it's gone out of scope, you can have a conversation with the client. But otherwise, you suck it up. And the answer to this that I will always say is, well, how much work in progress does your firm write off every year? Now, there's a little penguin with a book there. And here's a question for you, perhaps to ask back at the ranch. Ask your FD. I know there are a number of FDs in the room. How much do you write off every year that you book? And usually the answer that is given is between 10 and 20% of the WIP that is booked. Now, I've sat in rooms full of law firms of 40 million to 100 million turnover and said, I suspect you write off between 10 and 20%. And people nod. Yes. Yes, Sean, we write off £20 million. So it doesn't matter if you have a go at value-based pricing and you lose the odd couple of grand here and there. It really doesn't matter, because the current model that you're using doesn't work, okay? Some other myths. All clients are good clients. No, they're not, okay? And we'll talk about sacking clients later. All clients are the same and should be treated the same. No, they shouldn't. And you will know that. You will have clients you like acting for. You have clients that are pain in the backsides, okay? You cannot give a fixed price as you don't know what's going to happen. Yes, you can. You'll see that on the worksheets later on this afternoon. Clients are ringing around. Not all of them are. Probably the ones actually wanting the cheapest bargain bucket price are. They might be. But they might be the clients that you don't want to act for. Okay? Our competitors should charge less, so we should drop our prices. Yep, welcome to the race to the bottom if you want to embark on that. And then there's a going market rate for the job. There isn't. You set the rate for your firm. Lots of people will talk about the market, and what they talk about the market is, oh, it's what our competitors charge. And if you want to having that race to the bottom, absolutely fine if that's your business plan, but it's going to be tough. Okay. And the clients won't pay any more. Well, they will if you give them options. You will be surprised that clients will pay you more. Give them 3 options. You'll be surprised how many go for the most expensive. And clients aren't interested in value-based pricing. And I've got there not what my mate Steve says. And this is Steve Brown, Jackie's brother. There he is. Now, Steve, if you follow him on LinkedIn, he put this post up a couple of weeks ago. It is the annual burning of their timesheet. Mentioned the firm's been timeless for 5 years plus. And Steve put this up on LinkedIn. And he put a little post up on LinkedIn that basically said, I won't read the whole thing out. It basically says, look, we value-based price. We don't do time recording. Time recording rewards the wrong things. Slowest horse wins the race, etc., etc. Value-based pricing is what we do. It rewards effectiveness. So that's what he put on LinkedIn on 1st of June. A couple of weeks ago. So, an interesting post. He then sent me a message, Steve, and said, look, Sean, on the back of my post last week, I've been approached by a business owner in the UK looking for a lawyer to advise them on a shareholders agreement. Do you know anyone who can help? Steve and Jackie are based in Perth, Western Australia. Someone in the UK read Steve's post and thought, I'm going to Perth for my legal advice because I like the way that this firm look and sound. Hello, you're in the right place because we're going to do something about this. We've got to stop these Aussies nicking our work. Steve gives me enough grief over the cricket as it is, okay? But hello, we've got people in Britain looking around the world for legal advice when they should be looking here, okay? What Steve then said, look, I looked at his post. It had 1,700 likes. And as of the 3rd of July, it had 37 reposts. Okay. So that was, and they've got 1,200 followers on that. One of the other things we've got to get our heads around is speed is bad. Okay. Speed is bad. If a client is pushing us for a price, we tend to price low. So if we are being pushed on a price, let's price high. Okay. So that we can submit that proposal. We've got to become more confident. Okay. We've got to accept that we've got enough clients and opportunities. We don't need to do every bit of work. We're going to follow up. We're going to help our lawyers understand their worth, and we're going to accept that we are worth it. I mentioned client fit. Okay, really important. I mentioned the myths about all clients are good clients. No, they're not. Okay, and that not a good fit with a client is a great conclusion if we find that out at day one, very early on. It's horrible if it's arrived at late. And we will have realized we've done all this work and the client is awful and we shouldn't have acted for them. I spoke to one immigration lawyer, probably a year ago. £500 fixed fee on something. It got completely out of hand. The client turned into a nightmare. £20,000 worth of work in progress. Ended up with a complaint to the ombudsman and she had to give 200 quid back of the 500. Madness. Let's find out that people are not right at the beginning. Okay, so that's a great book if you want to have a little read. We know customer selection is paramount. We need to think about our customers. When we get on an aeroplane, we might be sitting in economy, premium economy, business class, first class. We know what we expect. We know that if we're in economy, we're not going to get a bed that lies flat and champagne. And we have too many of our clients, our own clients, that sit in economy and demand that first class service. And our first class clients are being neglected. So we've got to get into customer profiling, customer journey mapping, okay, and profitability mapping. And there are things that you can do about this. And you will have your colleagues who say, oh, but they're a good client. Yeah, they're a great client. Yeah, they've never paid their last 3 bills. They moan about everything, but they're a good client. They've got lots of money. Yeah, they've got lots of money because they're not paying you their fees. Okay, so we've got to start having conversations with our partners because they might be in the wrong place, and our colleagues. And I did this exercise, another little peg with a book. And here's something to do when you go back to the office. There's 3 clients that you would like to stop acting for. I do this with clients. I do this on partners away days. I did this last week, and they had about 10 tables. I said, name 3 clients you would like to stop acting for. 4 of them had the same number 1 client they wanted to stop acting for. And if I told you the name, you would know them. 4 separate practice areas wanted to sack the same client. So what are you going to do about that kind of stuff if it happens? Because if people are too painful, let's get rid of them. And then I asked of you the same question. I believe some of my clients should be dismissed as they are too painful and are unprofitable to act for. 77% participate in this survey said, yeah, that's us. We've got clients like that. It has been up to 96%. I've asked that question of firms. 96% of the people at the same firm say, yeah, we've got people we should sack. So why don't we do something about this then? Let's start doing that. And when I asked you in this survey, what prevents you from doing this? Oh, we're worried about insufficient work. A bit worried about that. One question answer was us registering they're difficult and avoiding instructions in the future. Well, if they're difficult now, just get to that last bit of work and then just say, we don't want your work in the future. I've had those conversations. I love having those conversations. I love sacking clients that were awful to work with and made my people's life a misery. And, one quote from one of you here, the firm has prostituted itself to get work through the door on fees generated, as we've worked on the basis that any fee is better than no fee. Just a bit depressing, isn't it? Just a bit depressing on that. Okay, so let's start thinking we're worth this, and let's go after the good stuff, okay? And you might be thinking, well, look, what are the characteristics of successful law firms? And I know Scott Simmons, one of the sponsors, my fellow legal iconoclast, we did a survey back in, I think it was August, May last year, where we did a survey of firms and asked them a number of questions. Now, the whole copy of this report is available in the download area, okay? And we asked the question, do you have a pricing strategy that's consistently applied, or do you leave it up to people to use their best endeavors? You will see there, 40%, yeah, we've got a pricing strategy that's consistently applied, and individual matters are less on a best efforts basis, i.e. we let people make it up as they go along. And that's what we found. And when I've repeated this question, it usually comes out at 60-40. 60% of our people, we let make it up as they go along, okay? And then we ask the question, if you firms, if you made no change at all, what would happen to your profitability in the next 3 years? So you change nothing. What happens to your profitability? And the answers were interesting. Some firms said, yeah, it's going to decline. Some said it's going to be static. Some said, yeah, it's going to increase about 5%. Some said, yeah, it'll increase 5 to 10%. Some said, yeah, it'll increase 10 to 30. And some firms said, yeah, we do nothing. Yeah, but we'll increase over 30%. Hello? You do nothing and you're going to get 10% over? Well, and then we said, well, okay, what are you doing then? What are you firms who are going to do nothing? What are you doing now that means you're going to earn that kind of money? Well, let's have a look. Those expecting 10% plus hardly a very small number on hourly billing. Okay, 46% fixed fees, hybrids 13%, based on the known value to the client. So actually, they're not wedded to the hourly rate there. They're doing something different. Okay, we're looking at fixed fees, bit of hybrid or known value. Okay, and so we thought, well, let's dig into this a bit more. What else do you do? And these 10% increases, okay, ask what success looks like. What does a win look like for you? What is it on this matter? What does success look like? 90%. How many of those firms have got a clear business development and positioning strategy? 100%. How many of those firms have got a pricing strategy? 100%. How many of those firms ask the client about their expectations? What do you expect from us when you work with us? 100%. And how many of them agree service standards with the clients at the outset? 86%. Okay, so these are firms who actually they're further along the journey than we are, but they've got a clear pricing strategy. They're asking about expectations. They're doing something different. And guess what? They're reaping the rewards for this. And when we said to folk in this survey, the Iconoclast survey, what would help? It was, well, we need more training and value pricing. Boom, you're in the right place, okay? Better use of our data, client feedback, consistent pricing policies, okay? Stop copying our competitors. And then the surveys I took with you guys down at the bottom, yeah, more pricing training, 64, better use of data, 47, moving pricing decisions away from some individuals, 18%. And then you'll see the moving pricing decisions away from individuals on the 63 firms we did for Iconoclast, 41%, okay? Reducing the use of the billable hour, 31% or 23%. These are pretty similar numbers, okay? We're all around in the same ballpark areas. So these are things that we can be doing. These are things that would help us do something different. And when I actually said one of the survey questions, and it's a survey question I've been asking firms for a long time now, who sets the prices in your firm? If I said to you now, when someone new joins your team, how is the pricing training undertaken? Now, this is one of the survey questions, and it's a survey question that I ask all the time of individual firms as well. So someone new is coming to your team, and how is the pricing training going to be undertaken? 42% say it's not. It's ad hoc. 24% internally within the team or partner, or you're left to work it out yourself. Really? So pricing isn't important. We just let it. It's a process of osmosis. Join it, or just book your time, but do a bit of hourly rate. That'd be lovely. So it's not. It's ad hoc. And this word cloud. It comes out pretty much all the same all the time. These answers. One person on the survey here was saying, "Yeah, we've got a detailed pricing manual which starters receive." Excellent. Someone else said, "Yeah, through training at value council meetings, and if there is private work, there's little detail or structure. Each consultant has their own fee structure." Those are some of the comments I got. Well, guess which team I'd want to work for? I'd want to work for the firm that is saying, well, training, a value council meeting or something where I understand about this, or I've got a manual. Those are the people I want to work with as a young lawyer. Give me some guidance, please. It's ad hoc. How are your pricing policies documented internally in your organization? Oh, we don't have any. Really? Half of you don't have any. Oh, we've got a bit on the intranet. We've got a bit of an Excel spreadsheet going on. They might be discussed. A bit of general knowledge. Yeah, lovely. That's a great way to have that documented verbally by partners. Okay, and then little penguin seal of approval in the red there. We charge as much as we think we can get paid. It's how we're doing this. So we've got to have some policies. We've got to have some structure. And these are quick wins. And then we think about pricing. How is this reviewed? No idea, really. Not sure. It isn't. 24%. This happens all the time. This is across all the firms. I get this. It's the decision of the HODs or the partners, or they set our hourly rates at the beginning of the year. That's the review, randomly ad hoc. We keep an eye on the market. Well, really, I say what? You look at your mystery shop, your competitors, and reduce your numbers, probably. Or we do custom pricing as per our scope, one person. So we're pricing the client, not the matter. How's it set? Partners in the board. Actually, it's set with lawyers pricing what they want without oversight. Do you remember that 60-40 split? I said it on the Iconoclast pie chart earlier on. Look at that, 60% here. This is the surveys that you've done. Lawyers price what they want without oversight. Best endeavors. Okay. Partners get approval on 11%. Or we have a value-based price conversation and charge different prices, okay, an hourly raise. So, there again, quick wins to do here where we can think about how we set pricing, okay? Now, I was going to say answers in the chat on this, but I can't see the chat. So you're just going to have have little guesses and shout-outs, not that I can hear you. Right, some real-life examples. Thomas Cook, okay? 21,000 staff lost their jobs, 600,000 stranded customers, and in the final year, they lost 163 million quid. Now, what would the average transaction, the average holiday price increase have needed to be for them to break even? Now, the reason I ask you this question is to point out that management teams don't keep their eye on pricing. Thomas Cook, huge organization, the management team did not keep their eye on pricing. So what was the average transaction price increase for them to still be in existence and not have gone bust? Ready? Hold your breath. 1.7%. They would have had to put the price up of their customers' holidays by 2%, not to a break even, but to actually have made a profit. And 2% on the cost of the holiday that people were buying package holidays are, I suspect they could have probably got away with that. Okay. Another question. British Home Stores. Lots of transactions. Okay. Last but 1 year accounts were showing losses of 887,000, 11,000 staff, high street brand, gone from our high streets. Lots of transactions. Okay. Thousands, hundreds of thousands, probably. What is the average transaction value price increase per transaction that they would have needed to break even? You ready? Brace yourself. 0.13%. 0.13%. So again, these are numbers we need to keep an eye on, the numbers in our business, because they can make all the difference. Okay. So we've got to get a grip on our pricing. We have got to review this at board level. Okay. Look at that Legal Iconoclast pricing survey and strategy and policy. And it's not all about making the equity partners rich. It's not. It's about investment. It's about our growth plans. It's about rewarding expansion. It's about rewarding our people. This is why we've got to get a grip on this kind of stuff, because there are low-hanging fruit for us to take advantage of. So creating options. We're going to be doing this obviously in our groups, and we like options. We get options every day. When we go for a car wash, okay, I hate cars. I've told you this. I go for the bottom car wash menu. Think of your mobile phone contracts. How many minutes, text, data? It's all different. We've all got different things depending on how we are. Okay, and we all drink different wine. Okay, depending on the occasion, depending on where we are, what kind of restaurant it is. But we want to have that choice. So people, in our own lives, we know as consumers, we like that choice. And how can you vary some of these things for legal services? Well, the variations you can have can be things like timing. How quickly is it going to be delivered? Terms, payment terms, technology. Are we going to have deal rooms? We're going to do this through portals. Is it all going to be electronic? Are we going to write it on vellum? Are we going to come around your house? Are we going to do it in your office, or whatever it is we're going to do? Access to talent is a variable to create options. We think of going to King's Counsel against a junior counsel or against a pupil barrister. We know they're going to be different prices. We have the choice based on what our clients want. And how are we going to deliver this? By phone, email, in person. On your right-hand side, I've got what I call pebble in the pond. Okay, we have got there what I say is that if I say to a litigator, litigators usually say, can't do that in my area of work. I don't know what's going to happen. If I said to a litigator, can you draft me a letter to a customer for a boundary dispute, a letter before action? They'll say, yes, I can do that. Okay, that's the yes circle. The likely circle is when they let that letter lands with the next door neighbour, we know one of three things are going to happen. They're going to do nothing. They're going to write a vitriolic letter back or ring up and shout at you themselves, or they're going to go and instruct their solicitors to write a vitriolic letter or shout at us. There's three options. Can we price for those likely outcomes? Yes. I can give a client a fixed price for those two. After that, I don't know what's going to happen. Well, fine. Let's just give them a fixed price for the first two. And then we'll say, for the option three, when we get there, I'll give you a fixed price for that as well. So just price for what? Because the further you get out, you get in the realms of who the hell knows what's going to happen. I don't know. I'm not pricing that now because I don't know. But when I get out to likely, and I've had likely, I then think maybe this is going to happen, or it is we're going to issue a summons. Can I give a price for issuing a summons and doing that? Yeah. Can I give a price for what happens when I get a defense in? Yeah, when the defense comes in, I can do that. Yeah, so you can break it down, chunk it down. The benefits, look, for the clients, we talked about this: predictability, certainty, no extras, reduces trust, reduces mistrust. That quote at the bottom was a quote that was given to me by a client. I was 100% higher than the next client, the other law firm. And they had a proposal from me that looked nice, had pictures of our lawyers on it, had it said what we're doing, what we're not doing, had some assumptions on it. And they said, yeah, we decided to go with you, Sean, because you really thought about this and it gave us confidence. The other firm, equally good firm, they just did a letter saying, a 2-paragraph letter, this is the price. They paid double because they got something that looked a bit nice. Okay, so this is the advantage. It gives us a bit of an advantage there. It differentiates us from the competition. Lynn & Brown, you see, I mentioned Jackie. You know, she's here. Their website, we will always agree a price with you for the work we carry out. If you get an invoice from us that you haven't agreed, don't pay it. Whoa, there's a competitive advantage, okay? So we can have that. For the business, debtors will reduce, cash flow improves. If I agree a price of $5,000 and I send you a bill for $5,000, you're going to pay £5,000. I might even have got the £5,000 up front, in which case I'll be sending a receipted bill or something. Okay, so it reduces admin. We don't have to have huge amounts of credit control because we've agreed this stuff. We get teams acting as teams. There's proper delegation, no hoarding of work. You attract proactive lawyers. Lawyers do not want to live there. I know we've got a table of young guns. We've got trainee solicitors here today. Hi there, gang. You don't want to live your life in 6-minute units. Okay? It is soul destroying doing time recording. And I was good at it. But yeah, so we don't want to do that. We want to motivate our lawyers who overperform. And what's in it for the lawyers? Well, clients pre-authorize our fees. We've got a competitive advantage. We're saying to them, yeah, I'll give you a fixed price for doing this kind of stuff. We act for clients who value what we do because we're going to sack the ones who don't. We get fewer client complaints. Ask your compliance officer. Most complaints are going to be about billing and not people keeping people informed. And we will avoid bill shock. Okay. So this means if you're with me so far and you think, do you know what, there might be something in this, we've got to think about a change management plan. We've got to change what we're doing. Think about that survey. You're going to download the survey. You're going to see what these proactive firms are doing. They've changed the way they do things. And you think, well, we've got to implement our own change management plan. Back to the book. Okay, 8 Steps to Change. Great book, Harvard Business School, John Kotter, guru of change management. Buy the book. Give it to your lawyers, right? It's a story about penguins. It's got color pictures. They love it. One of the penguins has even got a briefcase. They can identify with the penguin with the briefcase, okay? And you can learn more about this. You want to come to a gig? I'm doing a residential gig I'm doing in November. This is the second time I'm doing that particular event. And then with repeating this event, if you like this and you want to send some more people on it, we're doing this again on the 28th of November. Okay, so you can learn about this and start planning your change. And what I did there, that I created my own little octagon of change. The yellow, in the yellow bits, create a sense of urgency, pull together a guiding thing. Those are all Kotter's steps. Okay, around the outside, I've just put in word beginning with P, 8P point plan. The 8P point plan that I have is based on John Kotter, where you have a paradigm shift, you're creating a pioneer group, you're planning, etc. And in the download area, there's a copy of an article that I wrote for PM Forum magazine, which explains these 8P point plan. So you can actually take that away and have a little read of that and understand what you've got to go through to get to the creating the change and the passion where you create that change, because it is a change management program. And this is an interesting quote from a guy called Jim Hassett. It's basically saying lawyers have got to accept no one's got a silver bullet perfect solution that everyone's waiting for. And many firms that wait for the proven solution could go out of business before it arrives. Look at the date of the book. 2014, he said that. And I read that book in 2014. And how many firms have gone bust since then? Do you remember when law firms didn't go bust? Actually, some of you younger lawyers probably don't. I do. But it's because people are actually letting, good, perfect be the enemy of good. We got to get on and we got to start doing something about this. So have that tattooed on a t-shirt or tattooed on your forehead or something. Does it win? Oh, does it work even? Does this actually work? Well, look, our customers have got 4 options. Buy from you, buy from a competitor, do nothing or do it themselves. The fact they are ringing and speaking to you means they have discounted do it themselves and they're discounted do nothing. So they're left with one option, you or your competitor. So that's why we've got to speak to them. That's why we've got to have options. That's why we've got to make ourselves look different. Because if they're good clients, we want them. And remember, we don't need every bit of work. We need more than our fair share of the good stuff. We've got to start having conversations with these clients. What is their budget? What does success look like to them? Do you remember that previous question coming up on the survey? Let's ask these things. If money were no object, how would they like to work with us? Why are they choosing to take action now? Why have they come to us? Let's start having these conversations. Some golden rules that we will implement. 2 pairs of eyes on every price. We don't price our own work in isolation. Why do barristers have clerks and footballers and actors have agents? Because they will get a better bang for their person's buck. And so we've got to start having conversations about the price we're proposing. Mention value-based value councils. And, we can talk about those later on. But we've got to start having these conversations. We've got to start playing to our strengths, okay? And one of those strengths might be if people are bad at pricing and don't feel confident in doing it, don't let them do it. Because it's better than they don't do it than leave value on the table. And in your survey here, 18% thought moving decisions away from certain individuals would be helpful. That's pretty much the 80-20 rule, which you will have come across. And it comes out 80-20 all the time. Usually there's 20% of people in a law firm who are saying, do you know what? I just want to do the work. You price it, give it to me, I'll do it. But take it away from me. So that we might have to think about that. We might want to think about creating a lawyer scorer matrix. How busy are you? Can you delegate it? Is it complicated? What has the client been like up until now? Do you like the client? If all of these are pointing to, I'm maxed out, I can't delegate, it's complicated, the price goes up. But we start asking regularly these questions, and we actually record all these tips and our processes in our big book of usefulness, our pricing manuals that we have for our department. You're not going to get a pricing manual that works for the whole firm everywhere. There will be little departmental quirks. I'm happy with that, but we document it so that when someone joins your team, this is how we do things around here. You don't come in with your bad habits. I remember one lawyer, Bretherton's, going back a number of years ago, commercial property lawyer, doing jobs for 50 quid. Didn't even cover the cost of opening the file, let alone everything else associated with it. It was a nightmare. So this is how we do things around here, the way we want to do it. We will carry out after action reviews. We will look at what we've done, what went right, what went wrong, and we will learn from this. Confucius said that being ashamed of your mistakes makes them a crime. And law firms are very ashamed of their mistakes. Think of it, I bet when you think about what your compliance people are telling you, they're not talking about what went wrong on cases so that we all learn from them. We hunker down. We don't want to talk about it anymore. So let's learn from this. And we've got to be brave, okay? Because for hourly billing, all you need is a calculator. Excel spreadsheet, add it up. For value-based pricing, you've got to have courage, okay? Ron Baker, 2017, and Jackie and Steve and I were out there. So, that's what we've got to remember, is we will never get that pump fist price unless we ask for it. And that's what we've got to get in the habit of doing and being able to do that. Because billing is something we do after the work is done, and pricing is something before we've even lifted a pen. And that's where we've got to make sure that we start remembering that, doing that, and we've got to start remembering that we are worth it. Now, what are the challenges that you're going to face on this? Because you will face challenges, okay? Here's a question that I ask people. I said, what are the reasons? Because there'll be loads of no penguins. They'll be worried. They're going to be saying, Sean, what are the reasons we couldn't do, not to do this? Well, look, there's 50. 50 of these can't be asked, okay? All these other reasons will come up. I don't have authority. It's hopeless. It's a fad. Oh, we've never done it before. If you're going to embark on this journey, when I really hope you do, you've got to have answers to these questions. Be ready for these questions to say that this is how we're going to deal with this. Because the challenges you will face, there will be hindering thoughts. People won't all be on board with this. We've got to get them together. We've got to have a little pioneer group, a little test group. We've got to accept that leaders can be others in the team. They can't, not necessarily be the head of the department. It might be someone else in the team that is the leader on this. Your folk have got to have permission to fail. Remember the work in progress write-off mistakes. If we get it wrong, we get it wrong. That's okay. And when I work with clients, I get the managing director and the head of finance in to say to the pilot group, we understand that this is an art, not a science. It's okay for you guys to get it wrong. These are not going to be career-ending decisions by you embarking on this being differently. It's got to be a strategic decision to do this. It's about the profit. It's about, if that's what our strategic decision is this year, let's just have this one thing. We've got to make sure our partners and HODs remain in the tent. Okay, keep them on board with this. There will be no penguins. There's a character in the book, a penguin called No. Oh, no, this won't work. Okay, we've got to deal with these people. We've got to get into turning client work away. We've got to get into training and ingraining people. We know. You've seen it in your own surveys. We know people want to be trained. So let's get them trained. We accept that this is not an IT problem. This is not a bit of tech that is going to sort this. It's not a memo from finance. It's not a memo from your managing partner saying, could we please all do this? This is a hearts and minds thing, changing of behavior. Okay. And we've got to take the time to plan, implement, and train, and get people in. If it's important that you actually make the time to do this. So that's the end of the introduction, he says, with about 10 minutes to go. Get in there, Sean. You could do this for a living. Now, just before you go back into the networking, okay, I want to tell you what's coming up. Session 3 is the group work. That's what we're going to be doing at 11 to 12:45. We're going to be creating in our group pricing templates. You have been allocated a table. The tables are in the table plans, and the table plan is in the chat box or the download area. But find out where you're sitting and end up on those tables, please. Table 13 is what I'm calling the guru table, where Jackie Brown from Lyndon Brown is going to be sitting, and I'll be sitting there with Jackie. So if you've got any questions when you're working through your groups, and you think, I don't know the answer to that, come over to table 13, ask a question. We've got to get you working as a group. This is the power of the crowd to create these templates. If you send me after this event one template, and there happens to be 10 people from your discipline working on this, and they all send me theirs, you're going to get back 10 templates. Okay, so you will have stuff that you can take into your organization. Bits of it you might like, bits of it you might hate. But the idea is we're starting the pricing journey and we're getting your grey matter going. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing in section 3. And we're going to create these options for fixed price agreements. We're going to be thinking about gold, silver, bronze. We're going to actually be really focusing on gold to start with. What is our gold service level for a commercial matter, a residential conveyancing, a private client matter? What is the absolute gold service we can come up with? And then the reason we're focusing on the gold is it's then easy to strip things out for silver and then down to bronze. And we will also be doing an exercise. And again, and normally I give out chocolate bars of penguins. Sorry, can't do this in this. But we're doing an exercise to identify where we put ourselves in the shoes of clients and saying, what is it that our clients want from us? And there's 14 features. And that's going to see which table is the smartest table and can get these 14 features in the right order. So that's what we're going to be doing after the break. You have got from now until 11 o'clock to go and make a cup of tea, go to the bathroom, do whatever you want to do, and back in the networking area or whatever. And then my head will be popping up at 11 o'clock and I will be speaking to you again. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed it. And any questions, come and see me in the room and I'll happily chat things away with you. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye-bye.